How would you like to make $1 million with AI strategies you implement for companies? Rebecca Beard will tell us how to do it. And what's so special about Rebecca is she's an AI and tech career coach helping people upskill to land roles in these highly competitive spaces. She holds an MBA, CIPT, and some other titles. She has built and led global teams at multiple Fortune 100 companies such as Meta, Inc., Gilead Sciences, and Dropbox.com. And she has a lot more accolades. And now let's find out how you can get paid to implement AI strategies for companies. So Rebecca, tell us about that.
AI Superwoman podcast with Lily Patrascu shares the world's most innovative AI tools and processes to go from technophobe to AI pro, attract leads, close sales, automate your business, enhance productivity, and deploy AI agents to do your work.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily, for the warm welcome. So first off, I get a lot of questions around how to implement AI, how to uplevel. So when I was working at Facebook, now Meta, I started to understand some of the systems and processes and how things worked internally at these big companies. I was working in a data privacy team, and I decided, I want to really up-level and transition myself. So I figured out systems and processes to implement, and they're repeatable processes that I've developed out this program so people can implement on their own. And what I was able to do was implement these for myself to move into an AI role at Meta that was paying over 7 figures. So I wanted to help other people because I see a lot of people that are stuck. So I've developed out a couple of the main mechanisms I utilize are the DreamCV SEO system, because most of the systems are automated today. So people don't know how to get past these systems to get these roles. And even if you're an entrepreneur, if you can land one of these roles, making 7 figures, you can stack some cash to then give yourself runway to run your company. And it's really a huge change to your net worth when you're paid in equity, especially when those stocks are going up. The second one I have is the AI Influence Engine, and that is focused on marketing yourself and making sure you're leveraging AI to get your name out into the world and make sure you're like a market leader in your respective fields. So whether you're in finance, product management, I focus on mid-level career professionals and helping them get to that next level, which is basically tech and AI for most people, because that's the future. And then the third one is around the tech interview protocol. So I interviewed over 200 people just at Meta. So I know exactly what recruiters and teams want to hear and how to speak in tech, because it is very different than other industries. And if you're not able to articulate that, you're not going to get past those interviews.
Thank you. Tell us more about the 3 types of AI strategies that you've already covered. Tell us more in depth.
Sure. Yeah. So for the Dream SEO system, I talked a little bit about the systems in place. So there's things like ATS systems, AI systems, and most tech companies now purchase these and implement them internally. So for example, somebody posts a role. I'm a hiring manager. I may get 100 to 200 plus resumes. No one's going to sit through all of that review. So that system is going to filter out and also train the AI on those resumes to filter out the best and the worst ones and stack rank them. So something I teach people is how to become and how to get their resume in the top 5% of that stack. And so it's really important you understand these technologies on the back end as an employee or as an entrepreneur, because also if you're hiring somebody, you're likely going to use some type of system. You can't sit there and waste your valuable time looking at resumes. So both ways, you really want to understand how they work. And most of them, again, are trained on AIs. And I utilize a systematic process to ensure people get to the top 5% of those and at least get a screen interview. Another internal way you can achieve that is through referrals. So I have a vast network of people in tech. So for example, Lily, if you applied to Apple today, if you're internally submitted by an employee who's working there today, there's a very high chance you're going to get a screen interview. If you just apply on their website, it's maybe 1% to 2%. So utilizing these strategies are really important if you're trying to land a role in big tech.
Wow, that is fascinating. Tell us more about the AI SEO strategy for getting yourself screened into an actual interview. What do people need to bear in mind? Is it that they have to make their CV, for example, keyword rich?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the recommendations I make, but I have a set system in place where we utilize keywords that are frequently used in tech and AI roles. So I have a set system where we implement and automate some of that and put it into their CV so that it's hitting on those keywords that are well known, used at internal big FANG and what we call MAGMA companies, so that you are getting that screen. And that list is a proprietary list that I've created based on my decade of work in tech. So I say to people, like, I did a lot of the work, so you don't have to. I want to fast track people into these roles and not have to do, 5 to 10 years of work to get into those roles. So that's how we utilize some of the work that I've done to fast track it. And yes, you're 100% right. The keywords, there's also some other strategies you can use with other technologies such as LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You do want to utilize social media in a positive way. I always tell people, don't, post your thoughts and ideas and opinions, I'll say, on social media. If you are looking to land a role, we want to make it very business and professional like, and be giving, sharing your expertise in your respective fields. So if you're in finance and you've experienced and come up with specific strategies in finance, share those, share the experiences, share the stories, and keep it very business focused. Because what I've seen people do is get political on Instagram or whatnot, and that can be used, as we know today, to deflect somebody from hiring you from a role if they don't like something you've said. So be really careful what you say on social media. You can't delete it once it's set out there, and keep it very business focused.
Thank you. In terms of people that might not necessarily want a role, but let's say they want to get a contract with these kind of companies, is there anything you can recommend for getting hired for an AI implementer type role?
Yeah, great question. And I get a lot of people who go into my program and they say, I want to be an FTE. And then we pivot to a contractor role, because if you're fine without getting all of the benefits, typically you're going to make more dollar for dollar because the rates are higher and you're not getting any benefits or stock. So if you're fine with that, and a lot of people do pivot to that, again, leveraging your network. I have a vast network, and I have a list of roles hiring right now for contractor roles. That is a very hot area right now in tech, because they don't want to hire somebody for 5 to 10 years. They want to hire someone for a 6-month implementation for an AI project, get it delivered and pay it out and be done. They don't want to have to manage them in terms of their HR process. So that, I would say, number one is leverage your network, leverage my network if you want to work with me. Number two is same on the CV. You need to make sure you're hitting those keywords, making sure you're very centric on that specific role, whatever it may be. And then third is, getting some projects under your belt to start. If you have never done contract work, take up a free project that's going to be, 1 to 2 weeks. So you can have something on your resume or a reference to say, hey, I've done this project at X company. Here's the results. And you kind of get your feet wet and learn how to do an SOW and how to deliver a project. That's really important.
Thank you. What are some key deliverables that companies are currently actively looking for a person who is an expert in AI to actually deliver?
So yeah, it really depends which part of the department you're in, I'll call it. So if you're a product manager, they're really looking to build out a roadmap for a product, for example, and help you may work with the senior product manager on one piece of the roadmap. So maybe implementing one part of that project. So for example, I worked on wearables for a long time at Meta. So if you're working on Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, maybe just looking at the audio piece. And so they may need somebody to help with testing or AI sound or voice on that specific product. If you're more of a program manager, running and developing the program. So I do recommend people get started in AI through program management because you're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to get exposure to the different roles and really find what you like. But there are tons of different roles in AI right now. AI prompt engineer is another very hot one right now, where you're coming up with prompts, testing it, writing scripts, and then deliverables are things such as readouts, success metrics, and kind of iterations on those prompts. So you asked specifically about deliverables. And again, it's going to vary based on the role. There's AI governance management roles as well. Privacy, that's a huge concern with AI. And there's tons of hiring right now around that. Again, you're going to be building out frameworks, and it's going to be specific to the system. Now, if you're looking for roles more in the AI model development, things such as model training, data review is very hot right now as well. And I hired for those roles in contractor roles, and those can be 6 months to 2 years long. And what you're doing is reviewing data that's going to be trained on the model. So it's a very, I would say, kind of a boring job, but if you want to get your feet wet in AI and learn the processes and systems, that's a great way to get into it.
Thank you. What would you say are some easy yet very trendy and very, you could say, very hot potential jobs jobs or contracts that people who are interested to kind of like learn about AI could kind of like learn and upskill themselves into, so that they can prepare for, let's say, within 6 months to kind of get a role like that? And what is the best way for them to get the highest possible dollar for that particular skill?
Yeah, I love that question. So in terms of the best role, it really depends on your current experience. So if you're a mid-level professional, again, if you're working in finance or if you're working in like a business analyst at an insurance company, you want to look at your current skill set and what you've already done and see how they're applicable to a role in AI. I would say, again, one of the best ways to get into AI is program management because it's very broad in general, and you're going to be able to get exposure to different aspects of AI and then really hone in on what you like. One of the top paying roles right now is AI product manager. So a lot of product managers are pivoting from the traditional role into an AI product manager, and they're seeing upwards of $1 to $1.5 million packages and upwards, of course. Engineer, of course, is another one where people are pivoting from a traditional engineer to an AI engineer, but that does take a little bit more runway because you do need to understand certain languages and systems. But for most people in mid-level career professionals, you want to kind of look at your skill set again and then apply where you would fit in. AI prompt engineer, I would say, is on like the not lower end, but like maybe 2 to 4 years of work experience where you can get in the door again and kind of work your way up. Now, the way I work with people is we work on a 6 to 36 month timeline because with any career, you're not going to make $1 million in 1 month. This isn't a get rich quick scheme, right? We're going to work to get that experience, pivot, and uplevel yourself, and then be able to move into a FANG or Magma role. AI companies such as OpenAI and Anthropic, they're hiring like crazy, but they're looking for that needle in a haystack. So if you're able to package yourself up as one of these people, you're going to get a role very quickly. And with typical tech tenure is 18 months. So if you can work in a role 6 to 12 months, we can then pivot you into a higher paying role pretty quickly.
Thank you. So let's say people who have no expertise in AI at the moment, what are the kinds of things that they would be looking to learn over how long of a period they would need to learn it in order to make themselves, you can say, good enough to be hired for an AI role?
So I would say first off, like get a job anywhere, like get a job in the field your respective interest is in. And in that role, start to bring in systems, leverage technology. Almost every company is deploying AI in some fashion. You need to do it within your company, though, so that you can speak to examples and stories around the experience you currently have. So if you're currently not working and have no experience, I would just recommend getting a job. because you need to have some experience to get into, like, I'm not going to hire anyone with zero experience for an AI role because they need to understand how to operate in an environment and be successful in that. In terms of getting into that role and working in AI, so for example, if you're at a biotech, how can you implement their current tools and systems? And of course, like something like as simple as a Workday or as your SAP system, they're going to start to have AI plugins and AI ways you can implement across your systems. You can't just go and chat GPT stuff when you're working in a company because there's a lot of risk to the company's IP and your role. You need to be able to use the systems that they're purchasing and that's closed within their environment and get buy-in for projects to, deploy agents and these things aren't super complicated, but you need buy-in from the C level to do this or your director level because there is a lot of risk involved. So I recommend getting a job. And I know that sounds super simple, but like you need to be working. And then once you're in that role, starting to adopt AI within your current role and get buy-in for that and like take initiative.
Thank you. For people that, let's say, are similarly qualified, what will be the thing that will make them be paid a whole lot more, like 10 times more for the same thing? What will be the differentiator factor? Is it referrals? Is it, being referred by, like you said, like a person from the company? Or is it a branding, a perception, a positioning? What would they need to do to kind of like get paid a lot more for the same thing?
So I think the first thing is the role, like their experience in role. So if you're a mid-level professional landing, you need to have some type of tech company on your resume. If you do not, you are not going to land that 7-figure role. So the first step is, so say I work at a bank, I'm in finance. First step is getting into a mid-tech, what I call mid-tech. So that's something like an Airbnb, a Dropbox, a Figma. So it's a mid-level tech company. It's easier to get in and easier to get that on your resume. Once you do that, and again, typical tenures, 18 months in tech. So if you work there 1 year, 6 months, and then start applying to a FANG role, you're going to have a very high probability of getting in because that's kind of how the system works. Second is a lot of the systems and processes which I teach. Again, keywords, networking, branding, all of these things combined will get you to the next level.
Thank you. What are the types of jobs that you foresee being hot and trendy in the very near future that perhaps people are not preparing for right now?
One of the hottest ones I see, and the job listings grow every week, is AI governance. And the good news about AI governance is you can pivot from a lot of different fields. They're hiring from cybersecurity, data privacy, data governance, information systems, legal roles. So a lot of lawyers are becoming AI governance leads because you're going to make a lot more money and work 40 hours versus working in a law firm 60 plus hours a week billing. So that's one of the hottest roles I see right now. And again, what I already talked about was AI product manager. There's a huge gap in experience and expertise for this role right now. So it's one of the top paying roles in the industry today, and it will continue to be.
Thank you. What else would you like entrepreneurs to know about making $1 million with AI strategies for companies?
So again, it isn't get rich quick. You need to build up a skill set. It takes time. So have patience. Don't quit. I see people get started 1 to 2 months and they're like, this is too hard, I quit. So the people I see succeed, persevere. They keep trying, keep trying. It may take, it took me many tries, I'll just say, before I hit that success. But if you give up, you're never going to see that result. So if you try 5 to 10 times, you might have 5 interviews. And then that 6th one, you get a huge offer. So don't give up, because if you give up, you're giving away all the work you just put in. Continue to push through. And this is going to be one of the hottest job industries probably in our generation. So I do recommend to start getting into it. And whether that means like getting your first job or just getting a mid-tech job today, start taking the steps towards it because it will change your life in the future.
Thank you. Why are companies willing to pay so much money for an AI implementer?
Yeah. So people with this experience and expertise, again, it's rare, and it also 10x's their business. So if you're able to understand and leverage technology, and it's not just AI, you're putting in systems and processes that are repeatable and documentable. So with the AI, and something I want to bring up is the AI EU Act in Europe, we're going to have to start documenting and all the processes and how we build models for the future. And that's going to come to the US and other countries too in the future. So if you're not able to do this, your AI is not going to be usable worldwide. So having the ability to understand how it works, document it, and deploy it, it's a very rare skill today. And not a lot of people have exposure to it. So if you're able to do that, that's why companies are paying so high for it. There's going to be such a high ROI on those roles.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
Yeah, so I'm at Rebecca Beard AI on Instagram and YouTube. Feel free to message me or set up time with me. I'm happy to chat with people to learn more about you and see how we can help you on your career journey.
Thank you.
Follow me for more AI productivity tools.